Welcome back on to debate number 2 here on the Urban Debate. Viewers, tonight we talk once again about crimes against women. But I want to specifically emphasize on one aspect, which is what happens in so many cases, far too many cases, when the woman says no. The dangerous response, the dangers of a woman who finds the courage to take a stand and say no, to reject someone's proposal, and what she ends up facing. Stalking, attacks, brutal cold-blooded murders, acid attacks, rapes and gang rapes, kidnapping and torture. Far too many cases. It's a trend that I'm seeing now, which I had hoped that by 2020 it wouldn't be the case. Look at the story that emerged from Ballabgarh, where a young 21-year-old was shot dead in broad daylight by someone who had been trying to court her for months together. Now, many others picked it up and made it a communal Hindu-Muslim love jihad issue. But I want to talk to you about the basic fact that if that man had an interest in her and she chose to walk away from it for whatever reasons, he had no right to try and abduct her, pull her away, take her in the car, and when she said no and resisted that, he shot her. That is dangerous and unfortunately reflective of the mentality of many men in our country. Here's another incident. A 37-year-old woman, a mother, was critically injured in Haryana, again in Panipat, where two men came wearing masks and threw acid on her. Now, this happened just days after she actually resisted advances by a few men. Let me give you some more examples to really, elaborate what I'm saying here. On October 26, just 2 days ago, in Mumbai, TV actor was stabbed 3 times with a knife, attacked allegedly because she rejected a marriage proposal. On October 6, in Tripura, a woman was killed for rejecting a proposal for an illicit relationship. In January 2020, in Haveri, a woman was attacked with acid for rejecting a marriage proposal. In February 2020, in Coimbatore, a 21-year-old was killed again for rejecting a marriage proposal. In October 2020, on 13th of October in Vijayawada, a woman was burnt alive, set ablaze by a stalker who had been rejected. In September last year, in Nasik, a 20-year-old in fact attacked a schoolgirl who had rejected his proposal, barged into her house, sought her out and attacked her. These are examples not from one state, not from one town, not from one village, but from across the country. And the pattern is the same. Any woman who dares say no gets targeted in such a manner. How do you change this mentality? How do you ensure that men understand no means no and you need to walk away? The fact that they have no fear of consequences, no fear of law and order, just this rage, this feeling of vengeance or whatever it is, that they lash out at the woman without any thoughts about what happens next, is disturbing. So let's say good evening to panelists who can shed some more light on this issue. I have Miran Borvankar, former Commissioner of Police, joining us from Pune. Trisha Shetty, advocate and founder of She Says NGO. Ritu Saini, campaigner for Chao Foundation and Stop Acid Attack. And Dr. Anuja Kapoor, criminal psychologist and a social activist. In fact, let me go across first to Ritu Saini. Ritu Saini, because a lot of the survivors of acid attack also have a similar story. It's the first go-to response for many men, that if a woman turns them down or if they feel insulted or humiliated, they simply go buy some acid and ruin her life, isn't it? रितु सैनी, क्या आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी, मुझे आवाज आ रही है।
जी रितु सैनी, ये आ, आज हम जो बात कर रहे हैं कि ये जो रिस्पांस आता है दूसरी साइड से कि कभी भी कोई महिला अगर ना कह दे तो उसका भी रिस्क और डेंजर उस लड़की को ही उठाना पड़ता है। मर्डर से लेके जला देने का रिवेंज हम देख चुके हैं, और ज्यादातर एसिड अटैक केसेस में भी यही देखा है। आपका क्या इसमें इंसाइट है कि क्या एसिड अटैक विक्टिम्स की अभी यही प्रॉब्लम रही है?
मोस्टली केसेस में वन साइडेड लव की वजह से एसिड अटैक होते हैं। और मैं जहां तक केसेस की बात करूँ तो, और मेरे साथ बहुत सारी लड़कियां काम करती हैं, तो उसमें क्या होता है कि हमारे जो लगातार हमको जान रहे होते हैं वो एसिड फेंकते हैं। और मुझे लगता है कि अ, लड़का एक एक लड़की को पसंद करता है, तो सिर्फ लड़के की हाँ ही नहीं, लड़का क्यों नो नहीं सुनना चाहता है, और क्यों लड़की अपना प्रपोजल नहीं रख सकती है कि मुझे आप पसंद नहीं हो, या कोई भी रीजन हो सकता है। तो क्यों ऐसा, क्यों लड़के को समझ नहीं आता है, या क्यों अपोजिट पर्सन को समझ नहीं आता है कि उसका लड़के का ना करना क्यों उसको बर्दाश्त से बाहर है। क्या अपनी सोसाइटी में लगातार ये सिखाया जाता है कि लड़के को हम बहुत महत्व देते हैं। मैं हरियाणा से हूँ, रोहतक से हूँ, और मुझे लगता है कि अपने हरियाणा में पहले से ही लड़कियों का रेशियो बहुत कम है। अभी कुछ बेहतर हो रहा है, तो कई एसिड अटैक हो रहे हैं, कई रेप हो रहे हैं, और कहीं पे किसी की हत्या कर दी जा रही है, किसी को जन्म देने से पहले ही मार दिया जा रहा है। तो ऐसा क्यों? तो क्या एक लड़की का राइट नहीं है किसी को नो
जी,
बोलने
और
का?
मुझे लगता है ये
क्यों लड़के
सवाल,
को ही अधिकार है?
और
जी
मुझे लगता है
बोलिए।
ये सवाल जो बहुत लोगों के मन में आता है कि ये ऐसा क्यों हुआ, ऐसा क्यों हुआ मेरे साथ कि इतनी आसानी से उन्होंने मेरी जिंदगी को पूरा बदल दिया, मेरे पे एसिड फेंक दिया क्योंकि मैंने नहीं बोला। और डॉक्टर अनुजा कपूर, where does this stem from, this mindset, or how do we change this mindset for many men in our country?
थैंक यू फॉर कॉलिंग मी ऑन दिस मेन शो। रितु साहनी से मैं बहुत अच्छी तरह से वाकिफ हूँ। रितु जी, आपको मेरा नमस्कार। ये जानती हैं क्योंकि इनके शीरोज कैफे से मैं कनेक्टेड रही हूँ और मैंने इनके साथ काम किया है, और मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा कि आज मैं इस पैनल पे इनके साथ बैठी हूँ। सो टू फर्स्ट थिंग, क्योंकि मैं थोड़ा हिंदी में बोलूँगी इनके लिए भी, ऐसा रहा है कि ये जो एसिड अटैक की बात सिर्फ ये नहीं है। दिस इज रिलेटेड टू द क्राइम एंड इट इज कॉल्ड एज द हेट क्राइम। इसे हेट क्राइम कहा जाता है, और इसे हेट क्राइम इसलिए कहा जाता है ताकि, क्योंकि आप ये देखिए, this is there in the society. It is a patriarchal society where we are really talking about the males in the society. और अगर मैं कहूं कि फेलियर्स इन द सोसाइटी, अगर आप फेलियर को सक्सेस में बदल नहीं सकते, आप हाँ को ना में और ना को हाँ में बदल नहीं सकते, तो आपको ऐसा लगता है कि कहीं ना कहीं आप फेलियर हैं। जो मुझे रितु जी के साथ, जो मैंने और भी कई लड़कियों के साथ बात करी, और जब whenever I've been there, so I've heard a lot of many stories related to this. और मैं यही बात कहूंगी बार बार कि क्योंकि हमारा जो it is not only about the mindset. जब आप बच्चों को पैदा करते हैं तो यही कहा जाता है कि एक लड़का एक लड़की को पैदा कीजिए। ये भूल जाते हैं कि हम बच्चे पैदा कर रहे हैं, और जब हम उनको बड़ा करते हैं तो उनको भी उसे ही मापदंड से पैदा किया जाता है, और उनको कोर्स दिया जाता है कि लड़के का कोर्स ये है, लड़की का कोर्स ये है। चाहे हम कितना भी अपने आप को कह दें कि हम चेंज हो गए हैं, पर हम चेंज नहीं हुए हैं। और ये बहुत मुश्किल है कहना, चाहे हमारे सामने ढेरों एग्जाम्पल हों, पर जब अगर घर की बात आती है, we just seen an example you just showed before where a girl is just been shot at. यही चीज आप जसिका लाल केस के अंदर भी देखते हैं। वहां पर अगर आपको किसी भी चीज में, यहाँ तो we saw that in there was this guy who was a politician, and he was a son of a politician, and she just said no because the bar is closed, and she was shot dead. तो वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, मैं ऋतु जी के लिए फिर सिंपल बात कर रही हूँ कि ये क्यों इतना जरूरी है एक आदमी कि को ना नहीं सुनना, बिकॉज वो सुन नहीं सकता क्योंकि वो ट्रेंड नहीं है, और वो ट्रेन नहीं मिल कर पाए, उसके पेरेंट्स उसको ट्रेन नहीं कर पाए, क्योंकि वो कभी कभार हम ऐसे ऐसे एरिया से आते हैं जहां पर ये चीजें सिखाई नहीं जाती हैं, ये ना सुनना सिखाया नहीं जाता, क्योंकि उनके घर के अंदर उनकी मदर के साथ, उनकी बहन के साथ, दादी के साथ ये विक्टिमाइजेशन जो है वो होता चला आ रहा है। आप देखिए, थप्पड़ मार देना और एक बहुत ही नॉर्मल किस्म का बिहेवियर है एक आदमी का एक औरत के साथ शादीशुदा परिवार में। तो अगर एक औरत थप्पड़ खा रही है तो उसको बहुत कैजुअल माना जाता है, और उसमें ये बिल्कुल नहीं कहा जा सकता कि एक थप्पड़ पर, जो अभी आपने पिक्चर भी देखी थी तापसे पन्नू की, कि आप उस पर डिवोर्स ले सकते हैं। ये हमारे 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 एरिया में, हमारे सोसाइटी में नहीं है। तो जहां पर आपके सामने आपके डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस होता रहे, वहां पर जो बच्चा पैदा होगा, लड़की भी और लड़के पर भी असर दोनों पर इक्विवेलेंट पड़ता है। एक ये बात को अज्यूम कर लेता है कि औरत के साथ इस तरीके से बर्बरता करने का मतलब है प्यार करना। ये समझना होगा, क्योंकि वो ये मानते हैं कि इसको प्यार कहा जाता है। आई थिंक ऋतु जी इस बात को समझ पा रही हैं कि प्यार करना ये सबसे बड़ी बात है। ये मानते हैं कि अगर मैं उसको मार रहा हूं तो ये मेरा वे ऑफ अफेक्शन है, और इस बात को रोका नहीं जाता घर के किसी भी आदमी औरत से। और सबसे बड़ी बात है कि एक औरत का एक औरत के साथ स्टैंड लेना उस दौरान पर, उस वक्त पर, वो बहुत जरूरी बनता है, ताकि अगर एक औरत के साथ स्टैंड लेती है तो वहां पर ये चीजें थोड़ी मिनिमाइज हो सकती हैं। वी कैनॉट स्टॉप क्राइम, we cannot stop crime from happening, but we will ask them.
Correct.
We can make it very, very minimum, so that during that time we can take out the situational crime. So this is a situational crime which happens. We have to be very careful how we deal with
Yes,
the issues at home. Yeah.
Right. So the one aspect of course is कि हम लोगों लड़कों को घर में क्या सिखाते हैं, उनके सामने घर में या अपने परिवार में खुद औरतों के साथ कैसा व्यवहार करते हैं। जो वो देखेंगे वो वही उसी तरीके से वो जिंदगी में खुद भी एक्ट करेंगे। बट त्रिशा शेट्टी, या द अदर डेंजरस पार्ट इज कि जैसे ये और केसेस होंगे, इससे वो लड़कियां भी जो ये स्टेप लेना चाहेंगी, जो मना करना चाहेंगे, वो भी 4 बार सोचेंगे। फॉर देम इट बिकम्स, यू नो, मेनी वुड देन बी स्कैर्ड टू से नो फॉर फियर ऑफ द consequences. So it becomes even more important for us to address this issue. But what do we do?
Look, no progress has ever happened by doubling down on fear or selling fear. I will just break it up. So, in terms of the law, most offenses that are recognized of sexual nature, 354A, B, C, Section 509, they are all non-bailable offenses, right? The problem with stalking, Section 354D under the IPC, is it's a bailable offense. And Advocate Karuna Nandi has spoken a lot about this, how stalking ends up becoming a precursor to other crimes against women, as in this case that we have seen, the tragedy that happened with the girl's murder. So the thing that we need to understand and push for is, one, from a legal aspect of pushing for stalking to become a non-bailable offense, because we know that that ends up becoming a gateway crime for other crimes that people end up taking on once you reject. The second thing that I think we need to focus on is asking the government to step in and introduce compulsory sex education in schools and colleges. We can't double down on fear. We need to empower our women, our men, people, whichever gender you belong to, with what are the laws you have access to. That the law of the land does not recognize this to be normal as an accepted way of life. That we have laws against this, and that these are criminal activities. That consent is something that is guaranteed for us by law as well. And your consent must be freely given, must not be forced or coerced. So having these educational sessions within schools, colleges, empowering young people on what the laws of the land are, how they can get access to it, makes it seem like a less scary territory. These are very real practical measures that the government must do. And every time they talk about this, they say, no, we can't talk about sex ed, this, that. No, we need to. We need to, because too many of our young girls, women, regardless of the gender, are being subject to such harassment. The third thing that I will come to is pushing for the judiciary to be more victim friendly in terms of faster processes. We know that often when you tell someone seek recourse from judiciary, they go, it's too long of a process. It re-victimizes you. So pushing for the fast track courts that were set up to try these cases, that are not setting up, that are not trying these cases, pushing for money to go be invested in the right places. And finally, as a culture, we need to double down and address, I think Bollywood plays a huge role here, of having romanticized this no means try harder, no means I want you to chase me some more. So I think really discouraging the kind of problematic cinema that you see in Bollywood, where you keep chasing a girl around a tree till she says yes, and thappad ka mat what was that line? Agar prem se nahi samjhogi to thappad se samjhaunga, and treating these as these macho men. I think we need to treat these caricatures of humans that think a woman's consent is not important, that if she says no, it means try harder, as small, insecure humans that they are, not these macho men, who are so strong. No, you have to be a really small, petty, insecure, weak individual to use violence to coerce a woman to agree to what you are saying. It's the lowest form of humanity. It's cowardice at its best. And I think we need to keep, instead of focusing on the victim rehabilitation, yes, but also understand that this culture that we have celebrated of, not recognizing a woman's agency is not okay anymore. That these people who abide by this, using violence to get their way with women are weak people. And finally, we're talking about no means no. Under rape, there is an exception that says no man can be charged with sexually assaulting his wife unless she is less than 16 years of age. Our ministers themselves refuse to acknowledge that consent must be accounted for within marriage. Right? So we have a government this government, the one before that, they refused to criminalize marital rape. We're living in a country where marital rape is not a crime. So how are we supposed to tell women your body is your own, consent is always to be accounted for, no means no, yes means yes, when the law discriminates against married women from those who are not married? So these are institutional changes that we must push for, along with societal reform. And this is where the leadership must be held accountable, because we pay them taxpayer money to protect and safeguard women.
Oh yes, you're absolutely right. In fact, every time that issue comes up, Trisha, it really disturbs me and irks me, and how we can still, have such a legislation that doesn't even criminalize or acknowledge marital rape, and just simply takes away that right from a woman the minute she gets married. Miran Borvankar, thank you for patiently waiting by, but I did want to come to you last, because I wanted to ask you more from the law enforcement point of view. What can be done to make this a safer place for women to say no?
So all the panelists have covered the main points, like bringing up our boys, our sons in the family to respect gender. Then we have covered bringing up our girls to be confident and assertive, education in schools, colleges, sex education. I want to talk of one particular incident which I feel I want to highlight, that there are such success stories when girls have protested, that the witnesses stood by them. It's a very unfortunate case, but when a young girl who was an engineering student, Jyotsna, she was attacked and murdered on the spot by a boy, same story, one-sided love affair kind, Yogesh. It was a very tragic case. 2010, tried in 2015, which Trisha has highlighted, that we must have fast trials. But what I felt overwhelmed and I really welcomed was that her friend Sadhana, 3 witnesses, Manisha, Sandeep, Kedar, all young students, who were studying with Jyotsna, they stood for evidence in the court. They did not budge when the defense lawyer tried to shake them in the court. And because of these 4 youngsters, and of course our investigating officer Mahesh Joshi, the case was tried, though after 4 years, and the accused was convicted. What I want to say is, besides the various social aspects, bringing up of children, if law enforcement works with prosecution and in this case medical officer also, if we all work together, we can get conviction in these cases, which will be a very big deterrent. But mind you, late trial of cases, citizens not coming in the court to give evidence, that's a very big handicap for police. Now, in this case, investigating officer Mahesh Joshi, I was discussing with him. He did that extra mile. He walked that extra mile. That medical officer stood his ground. But I would say it's only because of the 4 young witnesses. I would like to repeat their names: Sadhna, Manisha, Kedar, and Sandeep, who stood their ground and saw that their colleague gets justice even when she is no more. So citizens have to be very much a part of the criminal justice system instead of being only critical. And nothing like socialization, bringing up our boys and educating them in schools and colleges.
Yes, yeah, that I feel is something which will take years to change. About the immediate response, hopefully, or the faster one can be from the way the cases are fought, from the way the judiciary treats these cases, from the way the police responds to such cases and takes it seriously. Trisha, to you on that, before I go back to Ritu Saini and Dr. Anuja Kapoor, the patriarchal mindset, does it also become a challenge within the law enforcement agencies when such a case comes? Is there a problem in the way it's also dealt with often?
I will be honest, specific to urban cities, I would say specific to Mumbai at least, it's a lot easier to navigate through police stations. A lot easier. The sensitivity has become higher, especially if it's cases of child abuse of any format. They have the fear of repercussion if they don't take cases. If you tweet, the Mumbai police handle will revert to you right away. Someone from their office will call you and make sure if the person in charge hasn't taken your complaint, they will reprimand the person. They'll direct you to someone else. So the process is a lot more friendlier in police stations. Where it's horrible and needs a lot more introspection and intervention is in hospitals. How they treat survivors of acid attack, of rape, of any sort of physical attack. It's absolutely abominable how hospitals treat survivors, and only government hospitals treat survivors, even though by law, under section 357C of the CRPC, which states treatment of victims, any private, government, any hospital is supposed to take in survivors of sexual abuse, but they are only directed to government hospitals, and the state of well-being and care is horrible. And that's me putting it as politely as I can.
ओके, पॉइंट टेकन. ऋतु सैनी, मैं आपके पास वापस आना चाहती हूँ क्योंकि मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहती हूँ कि जब ऐसे केसेस होते हैं जहाँ पे कोई लड़की मना कर दे, ना बोल दे और फिर उस पर अटैक हो, तो इसको कैसे प्रोसेस करते हैं? क्या काउंसलिंग दी जाती है? कैसे अपने आप को ये समझाया जाए कि मेरे इस डिसीजन की वजह से मेरे साथ ये हादसा हुआ?
क्या होता है ना, एक टाइम के अकॉर्डिंग सब कुछ चीज सेटल होती है. मेरे ऊपर भी जब एसिड अटैक हुआ था, सिर्फ मेरे ऊपर नहीं, मेरी पूरी फैमिली के ऊपर ये इफेक्ट पड़ा था. एक लड़की के ऊपर तो एसिड अटैक होता है, उसका पूरा इफेक्ट फैमिली के ऊपर होता है. तो एक फेस के ऊपर मतलब एसिड डलता है तो फेस तो जलता ही जलता है. उसके बाद उसके दिमाग का कोई नहीं सोचता है कि उसके माइंड पे कितना प्रेशर पड़ रहा होगा, वो कितना क्या सोच रहा होगा, या उस लड़की के ऊपर क्या क्या बीत रही होगी. जब हम हॉस्पिटल जाते हैं, कोई प्रोफेशनल गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल में डॉक्टर्स नहीं है जो काउंसलर हो, जो उनकी काउंसलिंग करते हो. ठीक है, फेस पे तो एसिड पड़ा है, पर वो क्या सोच रही है, वो क्या कर रही है, तो उसके बाद मेंटली बहुत प्रेशर होता है. मतलब मुझे नहीं पता था कि मेरे साथ क्या हुआ है, क्यों हुआ है, किसने किया है, तो वो लड़की बाहर कैसे निकलेगी उससे. तो उसके लिए वो बहुत डिफिकल्ट होता है और फैमिली को नहीं पता होता है कि कैसे उसको ट्रीट करना है. प्रोफेशनल काउंसलर है नहीं, तो मम्मी पापा ने जन्म दिया था तब तो हमको एक काउंसलिंग करा था। वो बचपन से हमको स्टेप बाय स्टेप बताते हैं, आपको पढ़ना है, अभी ये करना है, किससे कैसे बात करनी है। पर उनको नहीं पता है अटैक हो गया तो क्या करना है, क्योंकि उन्होंने उससे पहले कभी एसिड अटैक नहीं देखा था, मैंने नहीं देखा था। मेरे ही होम टाउन में 8 मंथ्स पहले अटैक हुआ था, मुझे नहीं पता था। मेरे मम्मी पापा ने कभी नहीं सुना था, तो उसके लिए वो बहुत मुश्किल होता है उस चीज से बाहर निकलना। तो मुझे लगता है कि हॉस्पिटल में भी प्रोफेशनल काउंसलर होने चाहिए। फिर मैं गवर्नमेंट की बात करूँ तो ट्रीटमेंट की बात करूँ, जो एसिड अटैक होता है ना, उसको उसका पेन बहुत हद से ज्यादा होता है। मैं वर्ड्स में एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर पाऊंगी उसको। मैं रोहतक की बात करूँ तो रोहतक पीजीआई में मैं आईसीयू में थी, तब तो वहां पे एसी था, मैं 10 डेज तक थी। उसके बाद वार्ड में चले जाते हैं, कोई एसी नहीं है, कोई कूलर नहीं है। उसको कितनी तकलीफ होती होगी, कितनी सारी सर्वाइवर है जो इन्फेक्शन की वजह से जिनकी डेथ हो जाती है। इसके बारे में कोई भी नहीं सोचता है। उसके पेरेंट्स के ऊपर क्या बीत रहा होगा, उसका ट्रीटमेंट कैसा चल रहा होगा। गवर्नमेंट ट्रीटमेंट तो कराती है, पर वो गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल में कराती है, जो कि मुझे बेस्ट ट्रीटमेंट नहीं लगता है। क्योंकि मेरा भी ट्रीटमेंट हुआ था तो वो मैं उससे सेटिस्फाइड नहीं थी और मेरे सक्सेसफुल ऑपरेशन नहीं हुए थे। तो दिमाग पे बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर पड़ता है जब किसी के ऊपर एसिड अटैक,
नहीं,
उससे निकलना बेहद मुश्किल है।
बिल्कुल। बिल्कुल। और इनफैक्ट मैंने पहले बोला, मैं उस पर जस्ट क्लैरिफाई करना चाहती हूँ। द फैक्ट इज कि ये बोला जाता है कि आपने हाँ या ना बोला, इसकी वजह से ये हो गया। इट शुडंट बी लाइक दैट। द
मेरा राइट नहीं है।
irrespective of what a woman's response is, आपका राइट बिल्कुल है। मैं वही कह रही हूँ कि आपका राइट है हाँ या ना बोलने का। दूसरे वाले के पास कोई राइट नहीं उसका इस तरीके से बिहेव करने का। अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारी सोसाइटी में ऐसा बोल दिया जाता है, और ये बहुत बार होता है कि जो लड़कियां हैं वो खुद पे ये गिल्ट ले लेती हैं कि मेरी वजह से मेरे को या मेरी फैमिली को ये देखना पड़ रहा है आज, और हमें कोई सपोर्ट नहीं मिल रहा। वो सच्चाई है हमारे देश की, वो सपोर्ट नहीं मिलता हर लेवल पे। जैसे त्रिशा शेट्टी कह रही थी, हर लेवल पे खुद लड़ना पड़ता है, अपने लिए ही न्याय के लिए लड़ना पड़ता है विक्टिम को, while the system actually tries to make it more and more difficult. Dr. Anuja Kapoor, that is the other aspect that needs to change. Victim shaming, putting the burden of the guilt on the victim.
Correct, correct. So we call it as a secondary victimization. This is what we are facing. You know, a woman who is already victimized, and when she goes for an FIR, imagine her convicts. You know, they are scot free somehow. These people, the conviction rate is very low. So this is what we are looking into. When we do not have a higher conviction rates, and the FIRs are being, not being done properly, and the accused are not being apprehended. This is what we face, and somehow the witnesses go hostile, and the moreover the victim itself is the witness to the crime. So what happens is when we're talking to the for the FIR for talking about the criminal offences, as Trisha has also talked about, we're talking about those things which on the ground looks very meeky, and it looks so beautiful when we are studying the law. As I am also a lawyer, and my PIL is already there in the code. Ritu knows it. I am already been talking about a male acid attack survivor in Supreme Court, and we're talking about the laws. And so I have put everything together where how even the laws are gender biased, and how the laws which are being there are so gender biased. Not only there, even for a woman, when we talk about victim compensation, she does not get it. Even if it is a rape, now after Kathua rape case, when I put it for CBI also in Supreme Court, there is in POCSO we started getting about 50,000 and above. We started getting the compensation for the children. Imagine we did not have that kind of a thing also. Now what we are looking into is we're just speaking about it. The NGOs which are there on the ground, I know it is hard, but this is how it has to be. It is all that we all have to work in that particular direction. But somehow, the compassion fatigue happens, and somehow these people are not being rehabilitated to the society. We are morally concerned about the criminology. We are hardly concerned about the victimology. So what it is to be look into the crime from the victim perspective, rather than from the criminal perspective. And this is what we have to look into. And now judges are also being keen in understanding victimology, and they're bringing up the facts and the laws related to the victims, how they can be rehabilitated. What is it that they can have a lawyer? Now Trisha can also can understand this, and Ritu, as I'm not speaking in Hindi, but what the thing is, like, when we are there in the court of law, or the public prosecutor, he does not inform their clients. So this is where is the most adversity which we feel. These victims feel, because they do not know where they are heading to. Who is the one they're talking about? Is there any counselor? Now in family courts, we do have counselors, we do have mediation centers. But when a woman who's there in the court of law and talking about it, she has to cover herself up. There are cases which I've been there and I've been attending and I've been talking about it. I've been their lawyers. And they have to just cover themselves up because the people, the children in the court or everywhere around, they get scared. They get scared looking at them. So what happened is, where they're talking about the video conferencing, we're also talking about shaming and blaming. That is what also happens at the court premises. It does. So what happens is we have to keep looking into the victim perspective. It is very much important that in India, victimology should come up on the forefront. Now I am already an executive board member in South Korea. We are representing India and talking about victimology. But in India, it is going to come a little late. We can study, we can talk, but it's outside India. What happens in India?
We have a long journey and a lot to cover when it comes to that, Dr. Kapoor. I do take your point, but if I can just go back to Miran Borvankar. Miran Borvankar, in your experience, is this a trend that's increasing now, or has been around for the longest time? Because every more and more crime instances that we're seeing across the country, crimes against women, it seems that somebody was murdered or assaulted because she said no, or acid thrown because she attempted or resisted some kind of an advance, or raped or brutally raped or gang raped because she resisted the advance. This mindset, is it worsening, or is it the way it's been around for years together, just only getting reported more now? Ms. Borvankar, that question to you. I think you are on mute.
So in India, women have been suffering traditionally. There is no doubt about it. And also as second-grade citizens. But it's also true that assaults like acid assaults, attack with acid and Hathras kind of case, where violence is so blatant, these are also getting reported. Therefore, you may see an increase in crime against women, which is, I would say, women coming out and reporting the cases. But I see 2-3 very good signs. One, citizens now coming out, not only talking of criminal justice system, but taking interest. After Hathras case, I got many phone calls from citizens saying, how can we help? Suggest us an NGO whom we can donate to. Suggest us a way in which we can talk about it so that our voices reach the decision makers. Which are the forums where we should speak, where we should talk. So this kind of positive collaboration which citizens are seeking, that's also a very good trend which I see. But besides socialization, I feel timely conviction of such people, such persons who are taking law into their own hands, who are throwing acid, who are not able to take no from a girl. They must be convicted within 3 to 6 months. And you as a media have the responsibility to disseminate that particular conviction, that this person has been convicted for 5 years, 10 years, life imprisonment, though I'm personally against death penalty, but I feel in cases of rape of minors and with murder, our hands are tied. Maybe one can even think of death penalty as the appropriate justice, but fast conviction, fast trial, and dissemination of action taken against these accused would help us to reduce crime. And of course, women must come out, continue to come out and register these cases. If they face some resistance at the police station level, they are always welcome to approach the senior officers. And citizens, besides criticizing, do criticize police, but when it comes to take a stand in the court, if you have witnessed a crime against women, please stand stoically behind that woman and see that accused get punished.
All right. In fact, I will also take the point that you made and, take on the responsibility that when there are convictions in such cases, we must highlight that there are far and few, but yes, I do get the point that when they do happen, we must bring it out again. And if there are delays, if there are issues, we should highlight those as well. Fact of the matter is, viewers, a lot of this is about the mindset. A lot of this, rural, urban, it doesn't matter. Poor, rich, it doesn't matter. Neither does your caste or your religion or any other kind of background. It's about the mindset that we give. It's about what we teach our children, what we teach our boys. It's about how we behave. And I including women as well, how we behave in our environments, how we behave within our families and our friend circles. All of this goes into reinstating and validating such unacceptable behavior, where it's okay to chase a woman again and again and again, even after she said no to you multiple times, because pehle na fir haan hi bolegi. Where it is okay to follow such movies and Bollywood movies and heroes and try to do the same in real life. Where it is okay to hit back, to get violent, to try and assert your authority when a woman rejects you, when a woman resists you or says no. It's not okay. And there is no other way to say it. Throwing acid at her to ruin her life, stabbing her, shooting her, raping her is unacceptable. And anybody who attempts to do that should also face swift and harsh punishment. That's where our law enforcement agencies and the governments need to come in. Thank you so much for joining us on this conversation.